All right, guys. Hey, how you guys doing? Welcome to the second edition, episode 2, Hot Pudge Sunday, one-on-one, Instagram Live. My name is Pudge Fernandez. I'll be your host for the next few minutes, however long this takes, however many people we get on this. I hope we're telling people we're getting people. There's our first customer, Alex Guerrera. Nice, never late. 2 customers. 2, ha, ha, ha. 2 customers. 2, ha, ha, ha. All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining, man. So, yes, this is my second episode. For those of you guys who were here last week, you guys know Nico White, stand-up comedian representing Harlem, New York, was on last week's episode. And tonight I have another stand-up comedian out of New York City, Barry Ribs, the one, the only, the ageless Barry Ribs, guys. He's on deck. He requested to join. He's ready to come on. Where's Mr. Ribs? Mr. Ribs, you call him. Mr. Ribs. Timeless, guys. A lot of comedians know him from all over New York City. I mean, this guy pops up everywhere. He's like the Viet Cong of stand-up comedy. You never know where he's going to come up. It's going to be there. There he is. There he is. Mr. Ribs, can you hear me, Mr. Ribs?
I certainly can. Yo, Pudge.
What's up?
That's better, right?
Yeah, you look good, dog. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, there's no help for me. Hey, JP Justice, what's up?
Yeah, we got people coming. Yo, when I put up Mr. Ribs, everyone got excited. Everyone's coming to see you.
Yo, Pudge, let me tell you something. I think I got on this bottom half by accident, but it's good. I'm having a bad hair day, so... Oh, should I do it back? Should I do a backwards hat, or I'm too old for that shit?
No, you can rock it. You're Barry Ribs. You can rock it. That's how you do. There you go. There you go. Now we're alike. We're alike now.
Did you see the love JP Justice just sent me?
Yeah, COVID-19's didn't get Barry yet. That's right. No, honestly, Barry, you are a staple in the stand-up community here in New York City, and I couldn't help but notice, and let me ask you how you felt, but you were getting a lot of love during this COVID-19 corona thing, because of course you are one of our elder statesmen, literally and figuratively, but you are up there a little bit on age, so a lot of people are looking out for you. How did that make you feel?
Well, except for JP Justice, I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling the love. I did post, you may have seen it, I posted on Facebook that if I were to die, I would certainly feel that I was loved, as you mentioned, by the comedy community.
Oh, absolutely. No question, no doubt. I've always had mad respect for you because, I mean, in my eyes, you were like the Viet Cong of comedy. I don't know if you're familiar, because I was in the military, so it's kind of a Vietnam reference. But just like the Viet Cong, you just popped up. You just like were everywhere. You would pop up any borough, anytime, any show, everywhere. I remember I was in Coney Island doing a show with Aldo, and just out there on the, you know what I'm saying? I'm one of those, and you just out of nowhere. I'd see you in Queens, I'd see you in Manhattan, I'd see you in Coney Island. So it was like I think that's where you get a lot of love and respect by other comedians. Is you're just ruthless, you're fearless, and you're timeless, and you're like all over the place.
Well, you know something, Pudge? I've been doing stand-up formally over 26 years.
Wow.
And how you doing, Straightforward and Dion? Hello. I got to say hi to these people. They're jumping in and shit, Pudge. You feel me?
No, they're here to see you. They're here to see you, dog. Do you?
But, yeah, I remember that show. It was on the boardwalk.
Yeah. Yep.
With... Yo, the acoustics were horrible whenever you have no roof and shit, but as you may agree, Pudge, I label it real comedians. Real comedians live for it. When this shit went down, a lot of comedians got real depressed, man. So what I do for the time being, aside from being invited by you and I got a show coming up on Zoom, May 16th. I do Facebook Live nearly every day.
Yeah, I seen it.
And I do Ribs Rants, which I took out of Mothballs. It was inspired and suggested. It was inspired by Vic DiBitetto. And Vic DiBitetto's been around longer than me. And he blew up. And my style of ranting is, I think, lighter. His is more Louis Blackish, you know? So my dude, Tommy Pena, who's actually quite popular on Instagram, Tommy 5000.
Okay, yeah, I heard Tommy, yeah.
Yeah, he told me a year ago, yo, you should be doing something like Vic DiBitetto. So I brought it out, and like I said, I do 2 minutes. It's really a little fluffy. It's things that's on my mind, because as you know, Pudge, we go back a good solid 5 years, I guess. Anyone who knows me 5 to 25 years know that I speak my mind. I'm really not that dude who just sucks up. I don't burn bridges purposely. I got too smart for that, okay? However, as you mentioned earlier, I am fearless. I am an urban comedian, 18 almost of my 26 years. And the urban scene changed my career, and it happened by accident. But there's no accidents when it comes to God either. I want to touch on one thing, and then I'll listen to you, if you will.
We're going back and forth, dog, so it's all good.
Yo, Pudge, I got a birthday coming up.
Uh-oh.
And my birthday is June 5.
Okay.
And I was thinking about the age that I'm going to be, as in the number, which I'm not going to share. Although people can kind of figure it out, you know?
That was one of my questions, but okay, I got you.
Yeah, I'll tell you why I don't put a number on it. I'll get to that in a second. But you know what? I was thinking, I saw the ex-wife yesterday, and I mentioned how old I'm going to be next month. And I said the number very quietly to her. Yo, we're all obsessed. If we're older or younger, people are obsessed with their age. Yo, I remember when I was 28, 38, I forget which one. It was like, oh shit, I'll be 30, or I'm gonna be 40. Yo, everyone's got that little thing with age. So I was thinking about the number that I'm gonna be next month, Pudge. And I go, you know, these motherfuckers are right. I am fucking old. But internally and psychologically, I don't feel or think the number, so to speak. You know what I mean, Pudge? I'm
very similar. Like, I know on the inside, and people say I look young, especially for the age of my kid. My son's birthday is today. He's 22.
Happy birthday, son.
And my daughter just turned 26, so people say I look relatively young for having kids that age. And I feel young. My body says otherwise when I go to the park and work out. That's another story. But how important, I know how we feel, but how do you think age, do you think that the age discriminates in the comedy community? Because I've heard a lot of murmurs, a lot of people talking, and I'm not saying I was discriminated, but I just felt awkward when I had a manager, booker, somebody in a club come up to me after my set and tell me, hey, that was great, you killed, wow, the audience loved you, how old are you? So I kind of got thrown up because I didn't think that mattered, honestly, because I think at the end of the day, you're funny or you're not. But I've heard other comedians say that sometimes age, they take it a little too far. What do you think?
Well, I'll give you an example why I don't put a number out there, which I would love to do. I would love to do it and brag about it, because when I was a teenager, I ran into an old-timer, down in Florida, and he was bragging how old he was playing basketball with us kids. And, yo, he kept himself in incredible shape, and it was unbelievable how old he was. But the reason why I don't put a number on me, which I think will answer your question, it was 1994, my first year in comedy, and I did a bringer, and the owner of the club watched. He literally watched my set, and these were his exact words after my set. He goes, "I like what you did, but you're too old for my club."
See? So that's what I'm saying.
That was 1994. I have since done his club 8 times. Now, yo, listen, Pudge, there's a reason in certain scenarios when clubs are really managing acts or really showcasing them a lot, they're thinking about the long term. So when they look at older folk, let's say 50 and older, they feel like, well, how much time do they really have for me to kind of showcase and cultivate them? You know what I mean? So
it's a business. So they're looking at it from a business. It's not so much disrespectful. It's from a business, is what you're saying, maybe, sometimes when they ask?
Yeah, I mean, there's a club.
That's tough to swallow. I got to be honest. I get it, but, I mean, if you're a gem, can you imagine if that's what they thought about, they were thinking when Rodney Dangerfield came around? Because Rodney didn't break till his late 40s and 50s.
Right,
Can you imagine? So you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's hard to swallow. I understand the business and the numbers, but hey.
Yo, Pudge, the simple solution, if you're so inclined, is you build up your followers. People will come out to see Pudge or Barry at 70 years old. Then you're going to get a different sort of song and dance. How would that be, you know?
Yeah.
Really
at the end of the day, we have to do the work, and we got to prove it. We got to prove ourselves.
Listen, Pudge, as you and a lot of people that know me, I get booked. Before this shit went down, I was doing a few cities around the country. D.L. Hughley.
Yes, I see. You and D.L.
A lot of comics that know me, yo. I've been with D.L. 6 different gigs. 6 gigs. And DL just goes for who's funny. DL obviously didn't think, yo, I can't put this dude on my lineup. DL, funny, like you said, funny is funny. Now,
you see, you say that, I say that, DL says that. Why is it that comics think like that, but then the managers and the bookers and agents think otherwise? You know, it's like, it's kind of odd.
Yo, Pudge.
Kind of odd. But I think you're right. It is business. They're thinking money. We're simplicity. They're thinking money.
Pudge, I've been saying this for a long time, going back 15 years now. And Pudge has to get this into his head also. You go where you're loved. For every 10 people in power that are going to give you the song and dance, there's going to be one person who's going to say, Pudge is this and that, and I'm going to show him love, okay? So it's a matter, there's a thing called reality, but there's also something that there ain't a motherfucker on the planet that's going to stop me, you, and anybody else, man. Yo, look, year 1, the dude said that to me. I could have shriveled up, Pudge, and just quit the business. Obviously.
It's funny, you got that. You got that in 1994, year 1. I got that in the 2000s, year 5 or 6. And it's probably, I know it's still going on today. It is what it is. Like Alex says, cash rules everything around me. Alex Guerrero is right. It's cream. Cash rules everything around me. They just see a business. They want the young kid that's going to live for 100 years, and they're going to hold them. And you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. It's one of the many obstacles we have to go through. And like the other obstacles, we just got to get through it, ignore it. Like you said, you could have folded day one and you didn't. So we just got to keep pushing, and it is what it is.
Yeah,
but recognize.
Yo, we got Comedy Pete. Yo, Comedy Pete.
I have a celebrity. He's a celebrity. Barry, Comedy Pete is a celebrity. I got him. Oh, my God.
Yo.
What's up, Pete?
Yo, Pudge, I've been overdosing showing love to a dude that never returns my phone call. This is before he was the superstar.
I live 5 minutes away. And he doesn't call me back. I'm like, Pete.
Comedy Pete with his Shake Your Love. Shake this, Pete. I've been ODing showing love to Pete. That was such a good freaking look where he had Debbie Gibson and she acted like a professional.
Sweetheart.
Even though she was on a dude that never returns calls, she kept it professional and shit. If she ever called Pete, he would call back in like 5 seconds. But Barry Ribs, you know what I mean? I can't shake my love and shit. You know what I mean?
Pete's working hard. He'll come around. He's overwhelmed. He's in a bit of a fast track. So let him come around. He'll come around.
Yo, he's busy right now in between watching Netflix with his mama. But anyways, yo, Pudge. I told Pete publicly and privately there's room for him in entertainment, and he also, like myself when I started, he's a little bit age obsessed and shit like that, but I think what he and I share, we're like characters. Like if there's a movie that's coming out and shit,
sure,
we're not exactly like Brad Pitt, you know what I mean?
Not by much, but yes, I understand.
And once again, Pete, incredible job. I said it to you. This is the last love I'm showing Pete until he doesn't return my next call.
I'm going to call him and tell him to call you before me. I'm going to do that.
No, I don't want to. No, thank you, Pudge.
All right. I'm just. He lives 5 minutes from me. He's literally down the road.
Yo, Pudge. Pete loves compliments. See how well raised he was. He says thank you. Yo,
he's a good young man.
He's gonna jump off any second cause he's gonna see Debbie's phone call ringing. Trust me, he's gonna jump off.
He's ironing his shirt right now. He's ironing his best Hawaiian shirt. Debbie's gonna call. Debbie's gonna call.
Yo, Pudge, he had me on this, but I did it in my crib with no Wi-Fi and no bars on my phone to talk about, and he didn't reschedule me. He put Debbie on in place of me. That's fucked up. That's not loyalty.
Well, she's pretty, and he's always had a crush on her, so you got to give him that. But listen.
That chick is like going to be 50 freaking years old.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of Pete, and because he's a young comic, and, we've been around a while, what advice would you give to Pete and all the young comics behind him? Like, what would you give, if you can go back in time, what advice would you give yourself, the first-year comic, or give all the young comics today? What would you tell them right now?
Yo, that's a great question, and I would say this really. 2 or 3 things come to mind. If this is really in your blood and you were born to do this shit, like Mr. Babbitt over there.
Shout out to Mr. Babbitt.
Another dude I'm proud of, Alex. Shout out to Alex. Alex is smiling and shit. Alex loves compliments just like Pete. But if you say other shit, Alex will turn on you. That's how Alex is. And Pete Garozzi just jumped in. So here's the thing. Anybody that really lives to be in the entertainment business, especially stand-up, you never quit. See, you see how he cursed me out? How Mr. Babbitt cursed me out?
It's with luck.
Without his glasses. When he puts his glasses on, he's more studious and civilized. He's got his glasses off. Anyway, for for those doing stand-up, you never quit, you never break it up, because I had to go out of comedy for 1 year because I got a real job, and then when I came back, it's like starting all over again. Matter of fact, during this quarantine time, you should be using your entertainment muscle in some way or fashion.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this.
You gotta do something. So that's number one. Number two, if you really, like when I started, I was a horrific writer, and I since have learned, and I prayed to become a writer. You become a writer and find your voice and your persona on stage by getting up on stage 4 to 7 nights a week. You gotta kind of live and breathe this. Now, the Pudges of the world have family, have to do a day job, blah, blah, blah. And I did that. And that's the true test of your mental and your desire and your hunger when you just do whatever necessary. I mean, I had a day job at one time. I literally, on my day job, I get up 3:30 in the morning with like 4 hours sleep, yo, and I was out at night doing shows and shit. So this, as my dude Wasan Jackson said in Connecticut, this gig is not for everybody. You gotta kind of live and breathe it. Alex Babbitt is a perfect example of putting in the freaking work. You got to put in the work. There's no secrets. And also, if you don't necessarily think funny and you want to be a stand-up, I don't know. There've been people that fall through the cracks and shit, but
there's a few. Now what you were saying. As far you made a very excellent point as far as being a young comic and wanting it, and then you made the reference as far as being the difference between like a young single comic and married with children, as I and you were, and huge. I'll give you a quick story. I met John Leguizamo one time at a club. I was a bouncer once upon a time, and he came to my club. So I finagled my way into the VIP so I can talk to him, because he's like a hero. You know, he's a local favorite. Love him to death. And we got to talking. Sweetheart of a man. Absolutely good people. The John Leguizamo you see on stage is who he is in person. So pound for pound, he's a great guy. So, like the young comic that I was, you know, I was asking him questions and like, hey, any advice, this and that. And just like the statesman that he is, and like you were saying, the basics, the writing, stage time every day, stage time. And then I happened to mention, I was like, yo, John, yeah, I kind of know, I'm cool. I know that stuff. And I told him, I said, you know, my only problem is I got a family. I got a wife and kids. And he looked at me and he's like, that sucks. And I'm like, yeah, it is. It's kind of hard. Then he pulled me aside. He goes, look, he told me, listen, you're still going to make it. It's going to take you longer, but you're still going to make it. And with those words, I just took them and put them inside me, and I carry that every day. So yes, to your point, that is another level of true dedication for those with married, with husbands, with wives, with children, with the day job, all the responsibilities, and still trying to be a comic. That is another level. So shout out to those people, yourself, and like John Leguizamo told me, it will take you longer, but you're still going to make it. So I always keep that with me.
And that's what I said to you about 10 minutes ago, Pudge. For those people who say, yo, Pudge, you funny, but I can't book you, blah, blah, blah. Yo, you go where you're loved, man. Garachi says some shit here. Oh, Garachi waited on Leguizamo. That was good to know. Thank you, Pete.
It's a solid guy. See, he vouched for him, too. Solid guy.
Shout out to Drew Beekler and Eric Angel that popped in here. There was somebody else, but they disappeared and shit. I can't see. Oh, we got Woo here. Yo, Woo. See, there's a perfect example, Pudge. Kenny Woo there, urban legend, very supportive of Barry Ribs. Yo, his words of encouragement. See what I'm saying? Look how, you know.
Barry motherfucking Ribs.
Wu saw me. Wu likes to tell the story about me bombing and then trying to sell my DVD after the show. I don't really remember that, but Wu never lies. So, but it's always helpful when your colleagues give you words of encouragement, and there's nobody better than Kenny Wu. And
it's hard to believe because you get a lot of those good set goods. You know what I'm saying? It takes time, just like to develop your act, but develop your friendships with stand-up comics and who you can trust and is going to be honest with you when they tell you. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, Pudge, let me say something. And here's another. We could talk forever because Lord knows I'm like, I know a lot of shit. I tell comedians, they come over to me, can you watch my set? Can you tell me? I tell all comedians, don't ask another comedian, including Barry Ribs. You might get your feelings hurt. That's number one. Number two, the public, the audience, they tell you if your joke is funny and shit. Don't really put any comedian on the spot. I am happy to watch anybody that comes over to me, and they will come over to me once every couple of months, and it'll be all positive and constructive and tough love and shit.
That's the thing, tough love. It's I've spoken to a lot of young comics, and they look at me a little weird, a little cross-eyed. But I understand, because I was in their same shoes when I was younger. Sometimes we don't understand what we're being fed. And that's okay, because they'll get it one day. But I believe in tough love, not the sugarcoating shit.
What year did you start? What year did you start, Pudge?
05.
05. So whoa, that's almost 15 years, right, Pudge?
Yep.
And you and I met a solid 10 years ago, right?
And we met at the Laugh Lounge, somewhere around Laugh Lounge time. We crossed paths, I remember.
And then you had me on your show in Queens Boulevard. Was that before?
That was around the same time, because I started around the Laugh Lounge, and then I did my shows at Queens Boulevard, right?
Got it. Kenny Wu, thank you. Yo, Kenny Wu's a perfect example. Although Kenny don't like to hurt feelings, but anybody that runs into Kenny Wu, a lot of times he's up there in Harlem, Mocha's on Monday when we get back to normal. Kenny Wu, he will tell you, but he'll sugarcoat. I'm more of an asshole. He would tell it.
I would prefer an asshole. I would prefer an asshole to me, because I want to know the truth.
Kenny, yo, I think we got Murad here. That looks like, yeah, that's Murad. That's one dude I like. I like Murad. I give Murad tough love and shit. But anyways, you go over to Kenny Wu, man. He's gonna be a little more gentler, but he's gonna tell you the truth. But he's a little more soft to love. Yo, Murad, great help to you and yours, man.
Let me ask you something. With the tough love and the young comics, I had an interesting conversation with another comedian earlier this week, Ishmael Maldonado. You know Ishmael?
Yeah, he shows me a lot of love, and we go back the same amount of time.
Right. So we were talking, and it was weird. We were talking about young comics versus young comics in our time versus young comics today. And it's weird, but in our time, I feel like we were brought up. Of course, we were brought up by the generation of comedians ahead of us, and we were taught to, keep your mouth closed, keep your ears open. We were taught to respect our comedy elders. We were taught you don't use the K word. You don't use kill. When describing your act, you're not a young comic and you don't use the word kill. That's a no-go. I mean, you don't know what a kill is. You don't throw that word around. You see what I'm saying? And you listen to your elders, when they spoke to you, because they were giving you guidance. They were passing their lessons to you. It was more of a respect, like a sensei, young Jedi Padawan thing versus today. It's different. I'll go as far. It's different. I don't want to shit on anybody, but it's different.
Yo, Pudge.
Different.
Yo, Pudge, let me tell you. Yo, how much more time we got left? Because you know me, you and I can talk for hours. How much more?
We got some. I'll let you know. It's only like limit. It's only like 45. We're good. Go, Barry.
Yo,
Mr.
Pudge,
Ribs.
There's a lot of stuff that bothers you, and hey, Rondell, a lot of stuff bothers me, and stuff doesn't bother you, and stuff doesn't bother me, but I certainly got some pet peeves. I also got blinders on, and I'm really kind of focused on me, if you will. But, yo, these dudes, there's one dude, of course, will be nameless. When he started year one, he would go on Facebook.
Protect the innocent.
He would go, I bodied that shit. And matter of fact, Woo is still on here. Woo is a witness. And Woo and I, we look at the post on Facebook and go, this dude bodied, this dude just started and was bombing. So I guess bodied means bombing.
Yeah, they died. It must be the new die. I don't know. But somebody put up, I forgot who said social media. I think it was Kangaroo. Kangaroo says social media has changed the outlook of comedy and how these young comics are coming up. I think technology has a lot to do with it. I don't know.
No doubt about it. Yo, Pud, sorry to interrupt you, man, but listen. The dudes, because I was in LA in the 70s for 5 years. I was probably living at the Comedy Store, but I never performed until 94. And all those dudes out of the 70s, for instance, to give you a decade, who are rich and famous, they didn't have the social media and shit. They just basically went out there and they put in their time on stage. Whereas there's one dude that comes to mind, he had 3 minutes. He had 3 minutes, and a year later, trying to sell a clothing line.
Is this recently?
He goes back a solid 5-10 years.
Yeah.
I told him, and he was a teenager, I think. I said, dude, you got to stay up on stage for at least 5 minutes. And take it like a man. Go ahead.
I don't understand. I speak to some comics, and they're like 2, 3, 4 years, and they're saying they have 15, 20, 30 minutes. And I tell them that's impossible. I mean, what they perceive, because they're standing there, they think it's what they have. But they don't understand they don't have it. I don't know. It's impossible to be a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old comic with 20, 30 minutes. I think it's impossible. And then when I say impossible, solid minutes. Fist banging, pounding, 20 solid minutes. LPMs, laps per minute. I think it's almost not impossible, but nah.
Pudge. Steve Gold. Hey, Steve. Yo, Pudge, there's a lot of the young people, they hang out in cliques sucking each other's dicks, and
keeping it real.
Metaphorically, or literally, who knows? That's their business. Anyway, yo, I have had coach mentors. I've watched the great urban dudes. Too many names, and I'm not going to mention any names because it'll get back. Hey, how come you didn't mention me? Blah, 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 So I've had an advantage. And think about this, Pudge. You and I have an advantage being older starting out. We have grown up on the greats. A lot of the younger people, I ran into one younger dude, did not even know that Arsenio Hall was a stand-up comic, A lot of them could care less about stand-up history There's all...
I tell them it's like college. It's stand-up is your gym. It's physical. It's math. You got to know formulas and addition and subtraction. It's science. You got to piece things together. It's history. You have to know the history of where it came from and how it got to where it is and where it's everything. People, I don't know. It's a lot of work. And I can't tell you. I don't know.
Yo, Pudge, there are people like Alex Babbitt was here earlier, Nico White. I shouldn't mention names because I'm going to leave out like dozens, but they're developing old school. They got a reverence and respect for the craft. Then you've got, on the other side of the coin, you got what I call the hypesters, the social media experts, the shortcutters. Yo, I can't go there, and I got a reputation in the sense that people know what I stand for, and I stand for putting in the time and respecting the craft. Once word gets out to the newbies that homie don't play that shit, they're gonna keep away from me, okay? Because I'm all about honoring the greats. I've used that expression for years. My uncle was a stand-up comedian. He had a different crowd, if you will. He was what they call a Catskill Mountain Borscht Belt comedian.
Well, okay, yeah. Yeah.
My uncle was very busy in the 50s, 60s, etc. So, and he wasn't blood, he was on the other side of the family. But I would see my uncle perform in nightclubs when I was like 10 years old, okay? So, and I've seen Robin Williams before he was Robin Williams, and Andy Kaufman, and so on and so forth. So, I practice what I preach.
It's craft first.
Yeah, I mean, my first year was literally only open mics. And you talk about us old schoolers and the new wave. As you know, Pudge, because you used to be on McDougal Street a lot.
Yeah.
These young people, credits or not, they're hobnobbing at the Comedy Cellar, out on the sidewalk, talking to the hotels of the world or going upstairs to the Olive restaurant.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're going there to be seen, and it's like, yo, perhaps you have a credit, perhaps you're in the game 2 to 5 years, but yo, when I first came to McDougal Street, it was 19 years ago, Pudge, and I didn't dare stand outside the cellar.
No.
I used to sit across the street on the stairs, on those, the stoop, right across from the cellar. I would sit on that stoop and ponder. I was 19 years. I was in the game 7 years, and I couldn't write jokes the way I write now, and I was going, I'm never going to get on that cellar rotation. I wasn't feeling too good about myself. As we both know, nobody, say myself, I am not getting on the cellar rotation unless I got something really major. And
heat.
Yeah, they show me love at Broadway Comedy Club. They show me love at the Creek and the Cave. And Gotham shows me love. A few places show me love. Caroline's shows me love. Usually that's with headliners that, I'm not on the Caroline's rotation. But like I said to you at least twice now, you go where you're loved. Not everybody is going to have the career of your hero. And I do tell young people this, because the ones that are serious will get my ear and my time. I coach anybody free of charge.
I'm the same way. Absolutely.
So I tell the young people who are serious and they want to kind of pick my brain. When you're starting out, you don't know shit. And once you start to kind of learn a little shit, I think you should really model your career where you want to be in this business. You should have a sense after 3 to 10 years. You should have a sense of 3 years to 5 years. Everybody's individual. You want to have you want to model your career, say, along the lines of maybe your hero, or perhaps you're a different act altogether. I'll go over to somebody. I go, who do you like? Whose career would you want? Most of the time, they're being a little unreasonable in a way. I think you got to really be you. There's only one Bill Burr, and there's only one Ellen DeGeneres, and there's only one Pudge Fernandez, and there's only one Barry Ribs. And my first mentor, Gladys Simon, she told me my first 5 years, be yourself. And you can best believe, Pudge, you and I have younger comics that kind of look up to us, say, and we may be heroes to them, and they like.
You know what? That's funny. I don't think I'm anybody's hero, because I'll talk to some young comics, and I get the slanted eye. I'll tell you a funny story, because you were talking about the cellar and open mics. I don't think these young comedians know what it takes sometimes. I think they feel like there's a graduation class or something. I don't think they realize that the work never stops. The learning never stops. The education of comedy never stops. The grind never stops. Perfect example. Like one of the open mics that I enjoy going to this still right now, like when I want to work on something, is I'll go to the 5 Spot in Brooklyn on Tuesday. Freddie Sheffield, shout out to Chef, my man, because I feel comfortable there. I'm at ease. Freddie's cool, nothing but love. So I go there, and sometimes I see a lot of young comics I've never met before. So I say, hey, introduce myself. And somewhere along the way, they ask me, so how long I've been in the business? And I said, well, about 14, 15 years. And I get that look. I already know what that, ever get that look? And they're like, it's that look. I can read their eyes. It says, what are you doing here at an open mic? 15 years. Oh, my God. I don't want to be in your shoes. It's that, like, I don't want to be in an open mic in 15 years. I'm going to be better than that. And here's the twist. Yeah. This is their mentality. They don't realize that it's just work. It's just part of my work grind. It's what I like to do. But some comics still go to mics regardless of how successful they are. And here's the final twist. I'm not going to blow up any names, but there's the Comedy Cellar guys that these young comics go to see and hang out and politic with. I know a couple that go to mics. There's one comic from the Cellar that used to stop by my open mic in the Laugh Lounge back in the day on Mondays. Once in a blue moon, he had a new joke, and he wanted to test it out. He came to my mic. There's another Comedy Cellar guy that used to come to Freddie Sheffield's open mic at the 5 Spot on Tuesdays. You see what I'm saying? I think some of these comics need to be humbled. The training never stops. There's no such thing as a graduation, and I'm never going to do open mics again. Hey, if it's part of your workout, that's what you do. But you know what I'm saying? But they just don't get it. They think, oh, once you hit that level, that's it. I'm taking off, and I'm not looking back. No.
Pudge, let me say this. My major button is being disrespected and or being cocky. Some of the people that don't know me, there was one up in Harlem. She now knows who Barry Ribs is. She goes, and this is backstage, she goes, very cockily, she goes, and who are you? I said, well, you may want to ask that person over there. There's a way of having a certain way of talking to people who look like me, and you go, this dude looks like, hi, Liel. Yo, that's my friend Liel. I think I pronounced it properly. Yo, Pudge, there's a way of approaching somebody who obviously is not a newbie, and for you to come over. And who are you? She now knows who I am. So there's a way of talking and being respectful.
Like I said,
Liel, good health to you and yours. We'll see each other in a year or two when this shit is over. Anyway.
Like I said, like me and Ish were talking, it's something about our generation we respected. And I spoke to Freddie. Freddie said, we respected our elders, our comedy elders. We would stay in the corner and just watch and learn and listen. We respected our comedy elders.
Well, there are exceptions to the newer ones. I got to tell you a quick anecdote, Pudge. I was thinking about her yesterday. Young female. She's at the Olive at the table. She got a nice career. She got some credits. She got some heat, if you will, as you said. You know what she said to me, Pudge? This is about a year ago. And
what did she say?
She goes, as I walk into the Olive, I swear, she goes, what are you doing here? Yo. The younger Barry comedian would have had thin skin and would have been like, oh, fuck, but yo, Pudge, we got to kind of come to an end on this shit because I got an old battery, okay? And
all right, no problem.
Nico, shout out to Nico White. Nico, I mentioned you 10 minutes ago. Anyway, so I seen her and I did a call back. I said, I said to her, I think she remembered, I go, what are you doing here? We were at a different location. That was crazy, but that would have bothered me years ago. But I know who the fuck I am on and off the stage now. So it was like, some people say some stupid shit. Yo, Pudge, let me see if I could tell. No, I can't find out how much battery left, but it gave me a warning.
We're about to wrap up anyway because there's a time limit. So let's wrap this up, Barry. Let's head out of here.
So shout out to everybody that's still on here. We kept people watching and shit. That's cool. Those of you who are fans of comedy, you find me on Facebook, Barry Ribs. You find me on Twitter, @Barry Ribs, and on Instagram, obviously, Barry_Ribs. Great health to you all. Pudge, thanks for having me, and you got the final.
Barry Ribs, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on Hot Pudge Sunday one-on-one, Instagram Live. You're my second guest. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. I can't wait to work with you again. Dude, stay safe, and we'll keep in touch.
See you all in Edgar Rivera. My condolences once again. Love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care, Barry. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Barry Ribs. Guys, I told you, the one, the only, one of a kind. He is a staple in the comedy community. Thank you again one more time to Barry Ribs for coming on with Hot Pudge one-on-one Sunday night Instagram Live. Thank you to everybody who watched. This is officially my second Instagram Live, Hot Pudge one-on-one. Last week I had Nico White. This week, Barry Ribs. Next week, I'm going to have a civilian. Hopefully, I'm working on it. Follow me. I'll let you guys know later this week. But I think I'm going to get Deputy Chief Cesar Escobar, FDNY EMT, on next week so we can talk about what's going on in New York City with the coronavirus, the COVID actions that are taking place, where we were, where we're going, and are we getting better? And put away all that bullshit lies that you keep listening from people on social media about New York. That's a pet peeve of mine. Everyone's talking shit about the numbers and lies and this. We're going to get down to the bottom. I want to get somebody from the EMT, FDNY to come on. Hopefully I'll get him on next week. Follow me on Instagram.